Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are treating your Cambridge Computer Science exam preparation like a strategic, high-stakes master plan. We are using the official study guide as our playbook, but I want you to think of this entirely differently. Think of this as Ocean's 11, but instead of robbing a heavily guarded casino in Vegas, we are assembling a specialized team of cognitive experts to pull off the absolute perfect answer heist. Our target? Securing every single top mark on your Cambridge syllabus exams, whether you're sitting for the 0478, the 0417, the 2210, or the 9618. The vault we're cracking is the examiner's mark scheme, and we need a flawless strategy to get inside. Too often, I see two distinct types of students trying to brute force their way into this exam vault, and they both fail spectacularly. First, we have Alex. Now, Alex is the classic over-preparer. He overloads his answers with raw, unfiltered computer science facts. He essentially memorizes the entire textbook word for word, but he completely ignores the analytical requirements of the actual prompt. By dumping a mountain of irrelevant data onto the page, he essentially trips the examiner's security alarms and gets locked out of the high marks. Then on the flip side, we have Sam. Sam is the rusher. Sam charges in, panic writing generic, common-sense answers. He completely misses the specific command word requirements and completely lacks the technical depth required to actually unlock the points. He's trying to pick a digital lock with a plastic spoon. Throughout this strategy session, we are going to look closely at their flawed answers, examine the brutal red pen marks they receive, and show you exactly how to transform those disasters into the perfect green checkmarked score.
We are going to break down this path to exam success into 4 highly tactical phases. We're moving systematically from understanding the basic parameters of the test, establishing our rules of engagement, decoding the hidden language of the examiner, and finally, executing a specific, high-stakes practice scenario to prove our system works.
Let's move straight into our first phase, understanding the exact landscape of the assessment you are walking into. You would never, ever attempt a heist without memorizing the building blueprints first, right? Well, you should never walk into your computer science exam without intimately understanding exactly how the assessment is built, what the weightings are, and where the traps are hidden.
This table breaks down the structure of the vault beautifully. We have 2 papers. They are equally weighted at 50% each, and they are worth exactly 75 marks each. You are given exactly 1 hour and 45 minutes per paper to execute your strategy. But I need you to look much closer at these numbers because they reveal a hidden time management matrix that most students completely ignore. 1 hour and 45 minutes is exactly 105 minutes. Now, if you are smart, you're going to deduct about 10 minutes from that total for your initial reading of the paper and your final security checks at the end. That leaves you with precisely 95 minutes of active, high-focus writing time to secure those 75 marks. If you do the math, that gives you roughly 1.25 minutes per mark. This is a crucial metric. When our friend Alex gets a simple 2-mark question, he often panics and spends 8 full minutes writing a novel, desperately trying to show off everything he knows. What he doesn't realize is that he is actively bleeding time away from the heavier 6-mark or 8-mark questions at the back of the paper. This table right here on the screen is your ultimate pacing guide. Every single time you see the mark allocation in parentheses next to a question, I want you to multiply it by 1.25 in your head. That number is your strict, non-negotiable time budget. If it's a 4-mark question, you get 5 minutes. Get in, get the marks, and get out.
Now, take a look at how the syllabus explicitly divides the topics. Paper 1 strictly handles chapters 1 through 6 on computer systems, so we are talking about data representation, hardware components, software, and the internet. Meanwhile, Paper 2 exclusively tests chapters 7 through 10, which covers algorithms, programming, and logic. This brilliantly illustrates why you cannot just blindly study everything at once. I've seen students like Sam completely panic the night before Paper 1 and spend 3 grueling hours reviewing Boolean logic gates and complex database structures. That is a critical, catastrophic error. The syllabus explicitly fences off these topics. Knowing this precise division allows you to ruthlessly compartmentalize your studying. You need to keep your mental bandwidth completely focused on the specific targets of that specific paper. Don't carry tools for a safe-cracking job if you're there to hack a mainframe. Focus only on what is behind the door you are opening tomorrow.
Now that we know the overarching structure and we've memorized the blueprints, let's look at the rules of engagement. These are the core fundamental strategies that prevent you from carelessly tripping the security lasers and losing incredibly easy marks. Before we continue, subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCS to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. All right, let's look at exactly how we bypass these exam traps.
I want you to pay special, hyper-focused attention to that very last bullet point on the screen. Using a commercial trade name like Word instead of word processor or writing Google instead of search engine will automatically cost you points, no matter how profoundly brilliant your underlying knowledge is. Cambridge examiners are strictly instructed by the chief examiner to look for precise academic computer science terminology. If you write, "The company should use Norton to stop viruses," you get literally 0 marks. The vault stays shut. But if you write, "The company should use antivirus software to quarantine malicious code," you secure the bag instantly. Also, checking mark allocations for detailed depth is absolutely critical. Think of the mark allocation as a series of physical keys. If a question is worth 5 marks, the examiner is literally holding 5 keys to the vault. You need to provide 5 distinct, valid technical points to get all those keys. You can't just write one amazing point and expect to get 5 marks for it. You need 5 separate actions.
This quote right here is the golden rule. The crucial point is that generic, copy-pasted, textbook answers fail miserably in this exam. If the exam asks you about a major corporate bank's data security and you suggest they just take their website offline completely outside of normal banking hours, that is a completely inappropriate and frankly ridiculous response for a global bank. This brings us to our absolute ultimate secret weapon for writing answers. I call it the PEEL framework. P-E-E-L. Point, evidence, explanation, link. Your top-tier, highest-scoring students structure almost every single long-form computer science answer using PEEL. First, you make your specific technical point. Then, you provide evidence or terminology directly from the syllabus. Next, you explain exactly how that technology works. And finally, and most importantly, you link it directly back to the specific scenario in the prompt. Our friend Alex almost always forgets the link phase. He will write a genuinely brilliant university-level explanation of exactly how symmetric encryption works, but he completely forgets to mention how it specifically helps the bank in the scenario protect their customers' financial records during a transfer. Because he doesn't link it to the scenario, he drops massive marks. The official study guide also lays out a highly specific pre-exam physical and mental routine. I know this sounds basic, but emphasizing that you should always read the entire paper through first before you pick up your pen is a massive advantage. You need to gather your thoughts and physically highlight key units in the text, like noticing whether the question asks for give versus kib. Skipping this reading step is Sam's biggest downfall. The clock starts, he panics, and he just starts frantically writing on question 1 immediately. But calmly reading the paper first allows your subconscious brain to start untangling and processing the harder, high-mark questions at the very back of the paper, while your conscious brain knocks out the easier, low-hanging fruit at the front. And highlighting those keywords, that absolutely prevents the ultimate tragedy. Calculating a complex file size transmission beautifully, doing all the math perfectly, but giving your final answer in kilobytes when the bold text explicitly asked for megabytes. That's how you do all the hard work, but drop the gold right outside the vault door.
And this visual right here brilliantly illustrates one of the greatest preparation techniques you can use, creating quick mental revision cards. Take this one for binary arithmetic, for example. You want to have this ready for a rapid mental download right before you enter the exam room. Think of this as your cheat sheet recap graphic, but one you carry in your mind. The absolute moment the invigilator says you may begin and you are allowed to write, I want you to immediately jot these headings down on a piece of scrap paper or on the blank inside cover of your exam booklet. 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. Writing this out in the first 30 seconds while your head is totally clear and stress-free means that 45 minutes later, when exam fatigue heavily sets in and you're suddenly asked to convert a complex hexadecimal number or calculate 2's complement, you don't have to rely on tired, stressed-out mental math. The system is already built for you right there on the page. You've offloaded the cognitive burden, leaving you free to focus on the heist.
Let's move into our third phase, decoding the language. This is essentially learning to read the secret code of the exam. The examiner is actively communicating with you, telling you exactly how they want you to structure your response. Understanding these specific command words is literally the difference between a 50% answer and a 100% perfect score. Stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2-3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to @acetheexams_IGCSE and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions.
Notice the massive difference here on the screen. The word describe just wants the main features. It's surface level. But the word explain demands the underlying reasons and the complex technical relationships. Giving a simple description when the prompt asks for a deep explanation is a classic trap that catches thousands of students every year. Let's look at the transformation in real time. If the exam question is describe a MAC address, and you say it's a unique 48-bit identifier usually represented in hexadecimal format, permanently assigned by the manufacturer, you get full marks. You are just listing the physical features. But if the question is explain why a MAC address is used, and our friend Alex just lists those exact same features again because he memorized them, he gets 0 points. Nothing. To explain, you must give the underlying reasons. You would say, it is used to ensure data packets are sent to the correct specific hardware device on a local area network, providing a static, unchanging physical address that remains constant even if the dynamic IP address changes. Do you see the difference there? Red pen marks instantly transform into green check marks when you actively decode the command word before you start writing.
When you see the command word suggest, the examiner is changing the game entirely. They are asking you to take everything you know from the textbook and apply it to a completely novel, completely new scenario where multiple correct answers might actually exist. This is where you have to think like a true cognitive specialist. The Cambridge syllabus might not have a specific dedicated chapter titled How a Local Family Bakery Should Handle Data Entry Validation. That doesn't exist, but the syllabus does teach you the core principles of presence checks, format checks, and length checks. When you're asked to suggest, you take those abstract academic concepts and you logically propose them as a custom-built solution for that specific bakery in the scenario.
Meanwhile, the command word evaluate requires you to step back and make a comprehensive judgment call. You have to meticulously weigh the pros against the cons. For example, evaluating the importance of using robotics in advanced medical surgery. Sam absolutely hates the word evaluate because he just wants to rush in, give one quick right answer, and move on. But an evaluate question is a delicate balancing act. You must provide the concrete benefits, like significantly higher surgical precision, lack of human fatigue, and fewer patient infections. But to get the rest of the marks, you must also provide the serious drawbacks, like astronomically high equipment costs, maintenance downtime, and the intense need for specialized surgeon training. Finally, to secure that last elusive mark, you have to offer a concluding judgment that weighs those two sides against each other.
Okay, we've studied the blueprints, we know the rules, and we've decoded the language. Let's move to our final phase and see exactly how this all builds together. It is time for an interactive workshop, a practice run using a highly realistic, complex exam-style scenario. I need you to get your mental gears turning right now.
First, let's do a very quick refresh on the underlying theory. In packet switching, a large file of data is split up into much smaller packets. Each packet has a header and a payload. They are routed independently across a network, and then they are reassembled at their final destination. I'm giving you a 60-second visual challenge in your head right now. When presented with a complex data source, like packet switching, your primary goal is to extract the core trend immediately. Scan the concept. The core trend here is that a packet header must always contain the sender and receiver IP addresses, a specific sequence number so it can be reassembled, and the total packet size. The payload is the actual image or video data itself. And the trailer contains the cyclic redundancy check, or the CRC, which is used for error detection. Because every single packet can take a completely different random route through the network's routers, they can, and often do, arrive entirely out of order. I need you to keep that specific fact locked tight in your mind for this next step.
Here is our target, a massive 6-mark scenario. I want you to note the command word is describe, and the specific context provided is a real-time international video conference happening between the USA and Mauritius. Let's do a find the flaw challenge right now. Remember Sam, the student who always rushes and writes simple, common sense instead of academic, technical science? If Sam looks at this and writes, the internet connection might be bad because it's far away, so the video will lag. The people in Mauritius might have a really cheap microphone, so the sound will be super echoey and fuzzy. Where's the fatal flaw in that answer? The flaw is that it completely, utterly ignores the link to the actual syllabus topic being tested, packet switching. He gets maybe one tiny pity mark for mentioning the word lag. The rest of the vault remains locked.
By comparing a high-level and a low-level answer side by side, we see the stark reality. The low-level response merely lists the everyday symptoms of a bad internet connection. Anyone on the street could tell you that. But the high-level answer explicitly ties those everyday symptoms back to the deep mechanical reality of data packets taking completely different routes across global network nodes. Let's do a 30-second speed writing simulation in our heads right now, applying our PO framework to absolutely destroy this question. Point: video and audio data are split into thousands of packets that take different physical routes across the globe. Evidence: because network routers send them independently based on traffic, these packets will arrive out of sequence. Explanation: the receiving computer in Mauritius must hold the data in a buffer and wait to reassemble these packets into the correct sequence number order, which inherently causes a processing time delay. Link: because this is a live video conference between the USA and Mauritius, this specific assembly delay results in the video stream freezing, buffering, and the lips of the speaker dropping completely out of sync with the audio track. Boom!
That is a masterclass. That is exactly how you hit 100% of your mark potential on a 6-mark question.
Looking directly at the examiner's and teacher's commentary from the source text, the massive difference in marks comes entirely down to successfully connecting the specific real-world scenario to the rigid computer science concept. Think of the examiner as our inside man on this heist. They are explicitly telling you exactly what they want to see in the bag. They are actively searching your paragraph for that specific connection between the real-world frustration of a lagging video call and the digital mechanics of packet reassembly.
The text notes exactly why the lower-level answer failed so miserably to secure full marks. They completely ignore the technical theory and just described watching a buffering YouTube video. As the quote on screen plainly says, they failed to make the link. This perfectly encapsulates the massive canyon between just having everyday computer knowledge and displaying true academic computer science mastery.
Now, imagine part B of that question asks you how to actually solve this latency issue. When asked how to solve it, the high-level student didn't just suggest they should buy better Wi-Fi or upgrade to a 4K HD camera. They applied syllabus knowledge and suggested implementing circuit switching to bypass the delay of reassembling packets entirely. By dedicating a single, unbroken, continuous communication path for all data packets for the entire duration of the call, you mathematically guarantee that every single packet arrives in the exact order it was originally sent. This entirely eliminates the need for sequence reassembly at the destination, which instantly and permanently cures the freezing and lip sync issues. That is how you pull off the perfect heist, by expertly utilizing the precise, high-level terminology that the examiner's grading vault is literally programmed to accept.
So, as you head back to your studies and prepare for your next practice run, I leave you with this critical question. How will you actively adjust your revision strategy to decode those command words rather than just passively memorizing textbooks like Alex? To guarantee those top marks, you must rigorously apply the complete computer science answering system we've built today. Remember the 3 golden rules. Rule 1, command word decoding. Always know exactly whether you are describing, explaining, suggesting, or evaluating. Rule 2, Peel framework application. Point, evidence, explanation, link every single time. And Rule 3, the time management matrix, ruthlessly multiplying every single mark by 1.25 minutes to keep your pacing absolutely flawless. Students who implement these computer science strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to at acetheexams_IGCE and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. Drop a comment below with your target grade for computer science and the biggest challenge you're facing. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Ace the Exams, your Cambridge success starts here.